The scenery outside the car window kept changing as they drove. Aiden looked at the new sights around him. The family driver was taking him west to his birth parents' home. Today was the special day he was finally returning to his family. When Aiden was 6 years old, he got lost after a bad car accident during a family vacation, and he lost all his memories. For 12 long years, his parents searched everywhere for him. Aiden grew up in a quiet village orphanage after kind local people found him hiding in the bushes by the road. The lady in charge of the orphanage was very kind and loved all the children like her own. Life there was simple and peaceful. When his parents finally found him, the lady encouraged him to go with them so he could have a better life and a good education. Aiden loved his peaceful life at the orphanage, but as he sat in the car, he felt nervous. He wondered if his real family would love him and if he could fit into their wealthy lifestyle. Interrupting his thoughts, the driver pulled up to a grand estate. "We have arrived, young Master Aiden." Aiden stepped out onto the driveway clutching a single small bag of clothes. Standing near the entrance was a group waiting for him. His parents, his 2 older brothers, and a breathtakingly handsome young man. The moment their eyes met, Aiden's papa, an impossibly stunning Omega, rushed forward, pulling him into a tight, warm hug and kissing his cheeks. "Aiden, my baby, welcome home." Aiden stared at him, completely dazed, thinking to himself, "Wow, my papa is so gorgeous. How can anyone be this beautiful?" Suddenly, his papa froze. He stiffened slightly, looking at Aiden with a mix of shock and pure joy. He glanced back at Aiden's father and brothers, who all shared a subtle, knowing nod. Aiden had no idea, but his entire family possessed a rare bond. They could hear his internal thoughts loud and clear, and right now they were thrilled by his sweet, innocent impression of them. Suppressing their amused smiles, his papa turned to introduce everyone. "Aiden, sweetheart, this is your dad, Alfred. On the right is your oldest brother, Josh, and on the left is your second brother, Mike. And this is Nick, your aunt's son." Aiden looked at them, his mind racing again. "Oh my goodness. Dad and my brothers look like movie stars. And Nick is so handsome. Even though he's taller than me, he has such refined, striking features. If I were an alpha, I'd fall in love with him in a heartbeat. He must be a high-class Omega to carry himself with such quiet strength." Everyone tried, and barely succeeded, to bite back their laughter at his internal commentary. His papa then signaled the butler. "Show Aiden to his room so he can freshen up. Baby, come down whenever you're ready. We've prepared a welcome feast for you." "Okay, papa," Aiden replied softly, following the butler upstairs. The moment the door closed behind him, the hallway erupted into quiet giggles. "Did you hear that?" Mike whispered, grinning. "He thinks we're all gorgeous." They silently agreed never to tell Aiden their secret. A short while later, Aiden walked down to the dining hall. The table was loaded with an extravagant spread. His papa guided him to a seat right next to Nick, piling food into his bowl. "We didn't know what you liked yet, baby, so we made a bit of everything. If you want anything else, just say the word." "Don't be shy, Aiden," Josh added warmly. "We're all here for you." After a wonderful meal filled with laughter, they gathered in the living room. In the middle of their conversation, his papa casually mentioned, "By the way, Aiden, Nick is actually your fiancé. His mother, Aunt Nina, is my best friend, and you two were promised to each other when you were small." Aiden froze in complete shock. His brain short-circuited. "Wait, what? Nick is an alpha? But he's so handsome. Maybe later I can ask him what skincare routine he uses. I didn't know alphas could be this pretty." Still not as pretty as Papa, though. Around the room, everyone fought for their lives not to burst out laughing. Dad cleared his throat to hide a chuckle. "We're going to hold a family banquet soon to officially introduce you as our son, Aiden. But only when you feel completely comfortable." "Thank you, Dad," Aiden said, touched by their patience. "And you'll be attending the same university as Nick and Mike," Dad continued. "What would you like to study?" "I love to draw," Aiden admitted quietly. "Can I major in fine arts?" Of course you can, sweetheart, Papa beamed. Over the next few weeks, Nick made a point of visiting every chance he got. He was attentive, gently checking in on Aiden and guiding him through the transition to his new life. When the night of the formal banquet arrived, Aiden's parents dressed him in an exquisite custom suit. The event was grand, but while his parents were talking with guests, a distant relative named Maria cornered Aiden. She launched into a non-stop monologue about how hard his life in the orphanage must have been, continuously boasting about her brilliant son, Johan. Aiden's mind started wandering desperately. Does her mouth not hurt from talking so much? When is she going to stop? Oh no, look at the dessert table. People are eating all the chocolate cake. If she keeps talking, there won't be any left for me. Josh, standing nearby with his friends, caught Aiden's tragic internal crisis. Chuckling quietly, he excused himself, picked up a generous slice of chocolate cake, and walked over. Aiden, baby, come here. I want to introduce you to my friends. Oh, Josh, you absolute savior. Aiden thought dramatically. He gratefully accepted the plate and happily took a bite. Just then, Nick walked over. How are you holding up, Aiden? Before Aiden could answer, a striking Omega rushed up, grabbing Nick's arm. Nick, where have you been? I've been looking for you everywhere. Not wanting to intrude on whatever was happening, Aiden stepped back. Go ahead and talk. I'm going outside for some fresh air. Outside in the garden, Aiden leaned against the railing, watching a group of children playing with a playful white dog. A wave of nostalgia washed over him. Ah, I miss Alexander so much. I wish he were here with me. Nick, who had quickly freed himself and followed Aiden outside, caught his thought and froze. Hearing Aiden express longing for Alexander made his heart sink. Walking up beside him with a pained expression, Nick gestured toward the Omega inside. Aiden, that's just my cousin. Nothing more. Aiden looked at him, completely confused. Why is he telling me that? Is he trying to explain his family tree? Before Nick could elaborate, Aiden's brothers called them back inside, and the night wound down. A week later, university started. Mike drove Aiden to campus and walked him to his first class. Call me the second your class ends. Okay? Baby? I will, Mike. Don't worry. Class went smoothly, and Aiden quickly made two wonderful friends. Samuel, a friendly beta, and Jeremy, a sweet omega. During lunch, as the three walked to the cafeteria, Nick approached them with a gentle smile. Hey, Aiden, how are your first classes going? They're great, Aiden replied. As Nick walked slightly ahead to clear a path through the crowded hallway, Samuel and Jeremy pulled Aiden back, whispering in awe, How do you know Nick? He's the most famous guy on campus. Everyone has a massive crush on him. Aiden glanced at Nick's broad shoulders. Well, yeah, Nick is super famous and wildly handsome. No wonder everyone likes him. Hearing this, a soft, satisfied smile crept onto Nick's face as he led them to a table. Mike joined them shortly after, and between the two campus heartthrobs, their table became the center of attention. A few days later, while walking near the sports field, Aiden accidentally stumbled upon a scene in the corridor. A handsome Omega was clinging tightly to Nick's arm, crying dramatically. Nick, I know your family arranged a childhood marriage with Aiden, but I love you so much. Please don't let him come between us. Aiden stood there in complete shock. Nick tried to push the guy, Cyrus, away, but Cyrus kept making a scene. Aiden's brain immediately went into overdrive. Oh no, am I the evil villain in their tragic romance story? I refuse to be the bad guy. I read enough webtoons to know how this goes. I am a respectable, good citizen. I will gracefully step aside and let true love prevail. Aiden cleared his throat, putting up his hands reassuringly. Hey, don't worry. There is absolutely nothing going on between Nick and me. Please carry on. Without waiting for a response, Aiden turned on his heel and walked away, feeling very proud of his selfless maturity. Behind him, Nick's face went completely dark. Later that evening, a deeply stressed Nick met up with Aiden's brothers. I don't think Aiden likes me at all, Nick confessed, sounding genuinely defeated. When Cyrus pulled that stunt, Aiden didn't even get jealous, he just offered to walk away. And at the banquet, he was thinking about someone named Alexander, saying he missed him. He thinks I'm handsome, but I don't think he has any feelings for me. Josh and Mike exchanged amused glances. Well, we won't force him into a marriage he doesn't want. Let us ask him about this Alexander first. That night, while the family was gathered in the living room, Mike casually brought it up. Aiden, when you were resting in the car the other day, you mentioned a name in your sleep. Who is Alexander? Is he a friend from the orphanage where you grew up? Aiden paused, nodding. Yes, he's my best friend. Nick, sitting across from him, visibly tensed. Is he special to you? His papa asked gently. He's my everything, Aiden said earnestly. Whenever I walked to school, he'd wait at the main gate for me. Whenever I went anywhere, he followed me. He was always there through every happy and sad moment. Nick looked utterly heartbroken, staring down at his hands. Dad, noticing the somber mood, quickly chimed in. Well, sweetheart, next week is your 19th birthday. Would you like us to visit the orphanage so you can celebrate with your friends and see Alexander? Aiden's eyes lit up. Really? Thank you so much, Dad. Over the next week, Nick tried everything to win Aiden's affection, bringing him his favorite pastries, walking him to every class, and quietly shielding him from campus gossip. But his anxiety only grew as the birthday approached. When the day arrived, Nick insisted on coming along to the orphanage, determined to meet this mysterious Alexander face to face. When their car arrived, the children poured out to greet them, and the warden welcomed the family with open arms. After catching up with everyone, Aiden looked around eagerly. Warden Mama, where is Alexander? He's around the back, she smiled. I'll be right back. I miss him so much, Aiden called out, hurrying toward the backyard. Curious and slightly tense, his parents, brothers, and Nick trailed quietly behind him. As soon as they rounded the corner of the building, a massive, fluffy golden retriever came sprinting across the lawn, barking joyfully and leaping right into Aiden's arms, licking his face uncontrollably. Alexander, I missed you so much, buddy. Aiden giggled, hugging the dog tightly. Behind him, absolute silence fell. Mike blinked, stunned. What the? He swallowed the rest of his sentence, completely bewildered. Who names a dog Alexander? Aiden turned around, tilting his head. Why can't I name my dog Alexander? I liked the name, so I gave it to my puppy. The warden chuckled fondly. Aiden found him as a tiny stray on his way back from school one day. The pup followed him all the way to the orphanage, and Aiden's been inseparable from him ever since. Hearing this, the heavy weight instantly lifted from Nick's chest. Relief washed over him so intensely that he burst into a bright, breathless laugh, instinctively hugging Josh, who was standing next to him. Josh promptly shoved Nick off with an annoyed grunt, but everyone else began laughing in relief. Aiden looked at Nick, utterly bewildered by his sudden outburst. Is he okay? Why is he laughing like a maniac out of nowhere? Is he making fun of my dog's name? Aiden glared at him with narrowed, suspicious eyes. Catching his death glare, Nick quickly sobered up, raising his hands in surrender. I'm sorry, Aiden. I'm not laughing at him. Alexander is a wonderful, beautiful name. Truly, I love it. He immediately knelt down, letting the enthusiastic dog lick his hands to prove his sincerity. The journey back home was filled with light-hearted chatter, and Nick was in the brightest mood anyone had ever seen him in. Later that evening, after the birthday festivities had wrapped up, Nick approached Aiden quietly in the hallway. Aiden, can I speak with you alone for a moment? Sure, Aiden replied, leading him to the quiet garden terrace. Standing beneath the warm glow of the patio lights, Nick looked at him with deep, earnest affection. Aiden, I love you so much. Aiden's brain instantly short-circuited again. Wait, what? From the time we were kids, you've been the only one in my heart, Nick continued, his voice soft and full of emotion. When you were little, you used to promise that you'd marry me when we grew up. When you came back and didn't remember me, it broke my heart, but I knew I had to be patient. And that Omega at college? He means nothing to me. But when you tried to walk away that day, I realized I couldn't keep waiting. I don't want any more misunderstandings between us. He took a step closer, holding Aiden's gaze. I wanted to wait until graduation to properly ask you, but I can't keep my feelings hidden anymore. Aiden, will you give me a chance to love you and prove how much you mean to me? Aiden stood there, completely dumbstruck, his mind spinning into a frenzy. Oh my God. He's actually confessing to me, the most handsome guy on campus. And he's been in love with me this whole time. Wait, does this mean I don't have to be the tragic side character anymore? Aiden, Nick called out softly, looking slightly anxious at his silence. Are you okay? Snapping back to reality, feeling the genuine warmth and sincerity in Nick's eyes, a soft blush crept up Aiden's neck. He looked at him, his heart fluttering in a way it never had before. I think I'd really like that. Nick, Aiden whispered, a small smile breaking across his face. You can definitely try. Nick's face lit up with a breathtaking smile. Reaching out, he gently took Aiden's hand, pulling him into a warm, tender embrace. Aiden rested his head against Nick's chest, listening to the fast, steady rhythm of the alpha's heartbeat. Whoa, his heart is beating so fast. Is he actually nervous because of me? That's kind of cute. Nick leaned down slightly, resting his chin gently on top of Aiden's head. Thank you, Aiden. I promise I won't disappoint you. You better not. Aiden mumbled softly into his chest, though a bright red flush was spreading across his cheeks. If you do, I'm setting Alexander on you. He's very protective, you know? Nick chuckled, the deep vibration echoing against Aiden's cheek. I wouldn't dare cross Alexander. Slowly pulling back, Nick reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small, elegantly wrapped velvet box. Aiden tilted his head, his eyes widening. Wait, is that a ring? Is he proposing right now? We just started dating 5 seconds ago. Isn't this moving at light speed? Seeing the panic flash in Aiden's wide eyes, Nick let out a soft laugh and quickly opened the box. Inside sat a delicate silver bracelet featuring a small, beautifully carved charm of a paintbrush and a canvas. It's a birthday gift for my favorite fine arts major, Nick explained softly, taking the bracelet out and gently clasping it around Aiden's wrist. I had it custom made for you. Aiden looked down at the sparkling charm, his heart doing a complete double flip. Okay, never mind, he's literally the most romantic person alive. How did I get so lucky? I'm never letting him go. It's so pretty, Nick, Aiden murmured, tracing the tiny silver paintbrush with his fingers. I love it. I'm glad. Nick smiled, his fingers lightly brushing against Aiden's cheek, tucking a stray lock of hair behind his ear. He leaned in, his voice dropping to a warm, gentle whisper near Aiden's ear. Starting tomorrow, can I walk you to your art class every morning? Aiden's ears burned red at the close proximity. Oh goodness. His voice is so smooth up close. If he keeps doing this, my heart is going to explode before we even reach graduation. Oh, only if you bring me chocolate cake. Aiden managed to negotiate, trying his best to act tough while his heart pounded out of his chest. Nick laughed softly, his eyes crinkling with fondness. Deal. As much cake as you want. Stepping back hand in hand under the moonlight, Aiden wrapped his fingers tightly around Nick's. As they walked back toward the warmly lit house where his family was waiting, Aiden realized that returning home wasn't just about finding his past. It was about stepping into a bright, beautiful future where he was truly loved. The next evening, the family sat in the living room after dinner. Aiden was curled up on the couch, happily eating a slice of chocolate cake. Nick was sitting next to him, casually resting his arm along the back of the sofa. Aiden looked at the cake, then glanced sideways at Nick's broad shoulders. Nick sitting so close. Should I offer him a bite? No, wait. What if he thinks I'm trying to feed him like in those cheesy romance dramas? But his arm is right behind me. If I lean back just 2 inches, my head will be on his shoulder. Is it too soon? Will my hair poke his neck? Across the room, Josh suddenly snorted into his teacup. Mike covered his mouth, his shoulders shaking as he fought a losing battle against a burst of giggles. Aiden paused, looking around at everyone in confusion. Why is Mike shaking like a leaf? Did someone leave the air conditioning on too cold? No, the AC is set to 24 degrees, Dad answered absently, without looking up from his newspaper. Silence instantly descended upon the room. Aiden froze, his fork halfway to his mouth. He blinked, staring blankly at his dad. Dad, I didn't ask about the AC out loud. Dad's eyes went wide. He slowly lowered his paper. Oh, wait. Aiden lowered his plate, looking from his dad to his laughing brothers, and then to his papa. How did you answer my question? Papa tried to laugh it off smoothly. Oh, sweetheart, father-son telepathy. It happens all the time. He's totally making that up. Aiden thought sharply. Are they psychic? Can they read minds? Only when you think really loudly, Mike blurted out, finally collapsing into fits of laughter. Like when you wondered if Nick used high-end skincare on your first day. Josh wheezed, wiping a tear from his eye. Or when you thought you were the evil villain in a webtoon and tried to walk away. Aiden's face instantly turned bright red. The horrifying truth crashed over him in a wave. Every single dramatic, funny, embarrassing thought he had experienced since moving into the house. They had heard every word. No way, Aiden screamed in his mind, dropping his head into his hands. My dignity, it's completely gone. The room erupted into loud, joyful laughter. Papa giggled fondly, while Dad shook his head with a warm smile. Nick, who was smiling softly, gently pulled Aiden's hands away from his glowing red face. Aiden, it's okay, Nick said softly, his eyes full of warmth. Your thoughts are the sweetest part of my day. Aiden glared at Nick through narrow, blushing eyes. You knew the whole time too, you absolute traitor. I did, Nick admitted with a soft laugh, pulling Aiden closer into a cozy hug. And I wouldn't change a single thing about you. Aiden hid his face against Nick's shoulder, groaning dramatically while everyone laughed around them, feeling completely embarrassed and completely loved. The warmth in the living room lingered long into the night, the sound of easy laughter echoing off the walls as the initial shock of Aiden's grand realization finally settled. Now that the cat was out of the bag, there was no hiding anything. Every time Aiden had a dramatic thought, Josh would snicker, Mike would grin, and Dad would hide a smile behind his coffee mug. But instead of feeling embarrassed, Aiden found himself leaning into the absurdity of it all. He leaned back against Nick's shoulder, taking a deliberate bite of his chocolate cake. If they can hear everything I think, Aiden mused loudly in his mind, testing his new power, then someone should know that the most handsome, wonderful fiancé in the world owes me a second slice of cake for emotional distress. Nick laughed softly, a deep rumble against Aiden's side, and stood up without a word, heading straight toward the kitchen to fetch another slice. Papa smiled gently, watching the two of them with pure joy. For 12 long years, this house had felt incomplete, marked by a quiet, aching void. But as Aiden sat here now, blushing, joking, and surrounded by the people who had searched endlessly to bring him home, the final piece of the puzzle had fallen perfectly into place. Aiden looked down at the silver paintbrush charm sparkling on his wrist, then up at his family chatting happily around him. He didn't need to regain every lost memory of his past to know where he belonged. He had found his home, his family, and a love that was loud enough to be heard without saying a single word.